"Why are you smiling?" my pregnant wife asked me. "Because you're expecting, and I know the child isn't mine," I said evenly. By the time dessert should have arrived, her life was already falling apart. This is how a software engineer approaches a serious betrayal in a marriage. My name is Marcus Hawthorne. I'm 50 years old, and I built a SaaS platform that HR departments across the Midwest practically depend on to survive. Payroll, benefits, employee records, everything rolled into one system. I spent 15 years pulling 18-hour days so Lila wouldn't have to work, so our kids could have whatever they needed without question. Ivy is 14, straight A student, obsessed with animals, dead set on becoming a veterinarian. Leo just turned 11 and plays baseball the same way I used to, a hard swing, too much confidence. 3 months ago, I stumbled across something I wasn't supposed to see in our shared cloud storage. The file was called Insurance Update, March. That alone made me curious. I opened it and found an appointment confirmation for an OBGYN, Dr. Fiona Caldwell. Lila and I hadn't talked about having another baby. Honestly, we hadn't talked much at all unless it involved schedules, bills, or who was picking up which kid. That was the moment I stopped assuming and started paying attention. Really paying attention. I'm a software guy. I trust data. I trust patterns. Our platform logs everything, and so did my brain. 2 weeks later, I had my answer. Lila was 12 weeks pregnant. The notes were sitting in her email, synced to the family cloud system I'd personally built for security. 12 weeks. I counted backward in my head. We hadn't been close for months, and even that night was more about champagne and shared memories than actual desire. I could have lost it right then. I could have yelled, demanded answers, blown everything up. But that's not how you solve a problem. First you assess. Then you plan. Then you execute. So that night, I took her to Raphael's. Upscale Italian place. White tablecloths, soft candlelight, piano music in the background. She looked genuinely confused when I suggested it. "What's the occasion?" Lila asked. "Do we need one?" I said lightly. "Just thought it'd be nice." She smiled, the same smile I fell in love with 22 years ago. Only now, I noticed the calculation behind it. We were sitting there, and she was wearing a navy dress I'd never seen before. Hair done up the way she used to wear it when we first started dating. She ordered salmon. I ordered a ribeye I had no intention of touching. The waiter brought wine. She waved it away. "Not feeling it tonight." "You sure?" I asked. "I'm sure." She drank water instead. A few minutes passed before she leaned forward. "So what's really going on, Mark? You've been acting off." I set my fork down. "I've been thinking about us. About where we're headed." She shifted in her chair. "Okay. About family. About what comes next." Her hand moved to her stomach without thinking, protective, instinctive. She caught herself and quickly pulled it back to the table. "Mark, if this is about..." "I'm happy," I cut in, keeping my voice steady. "Actually, I'm really happy." She blinked, clearly thrown. "That's good." "It is," I said, leaning back. "You asked why I wanted dinner tonight. Why I've been different." She nodded slowly. "Yeah. It's because you're pregnant." I watched the color drain from her face. "And I'm not the father." The restaurant kept going around us, piano music, laughter from another table, the clink of silverware. But at our table, everything froze. Lila's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. "What did you just say?" I stood up, pulled 3 20s from my wallet, and placed them neatly on the table. "Enjoy your evening," I said quietly. Then I walked out. I left her sitting there as her entire world started to collapse. I got into my car and drove home in complete silence. By the time she came through the front door an hour later, heels clicking, breathing fast and shallow, I was already gone. I didn't go far. Just the Marriott 3 blocks from our house. I checked in under my own name, paid cash, and told the front desk I didn't want housekeeping. Room 412. Corner suite. View of the parking lot and absolutely nothing else. Perfect. I sat on the bed and opened my laptop. The monitoring software I'd installed on our home network 3 months earlier was still running smoothly. Every device. Every login. Every search. Every message. All logged. All time-stamped. All stored on a secure server Lila had no idea existed. My phone buzzed. Lila calling. I declined it. It buzzed again. Declined. Then came the text. Mark, please. We need to talk. This isn't what you think. Please come home. I turned the phone face down and focused on my laptop. The real work was just getting started. You see, when you build HR software, you learn one key truth: people are creatures of habit. They reuse passwords. They shop at the same places. They follow predictable patterns. Lila was no exception. I'd had access for years, joint accounts, obviously. But also her personal email, her social media, her cloud storage. All synced into systems I'd built for convenience. I opened her Gmail and searched for Dr. Caldwell. 47 results going back 8 months. Appointments. Test results. Prescription confirmations. Then I searched for a name that kept popping up in her location data. Owen. Owen Blackwood. 34. Marketing consultant. He worked for a firm 2 buildings down from where Lila used to volunteer at the community center. His LinkedIn photo showed him smiling in front of a BMW, professional headshot that screamed I peaked in college. I found their messages in a folder she'd labeled Book Club. Cute. There was no book club. Just months of carefully planned meetups. Hotel rooms. Lies about where she'd be and when she'd be there. One message from 6 weeks ago caught my eye. Lila, he's been distant lately. I think he suspects something. Owen, then maybe it's time to tell him. We can't keep doing this. Lila, not yet. I need to figure out the logistics. The kids. The house. Everything. Owen, what about the baby? Lila, I'll handle it. Trust me. I'll handle it. Like I was just another problem to solve. A logistics issue in her master plan. I screenshotted everything. Saved it to 3 separate drives. Encrypted. Backed up. Then I opened another folder. This one held documents I'd spent the last 6 weeks preparing with my attorney, Victor Langley. 40 years in family law. Known for being meticulous and ruthless. The dissolution of marriage petition was already drafted. Reviewed. Ready to file Monday morning. Asset separation agreement. Child custody proposal. Financial disclosures listing every account, every investment, every property. Including the house. Both of our names were on it. The house might have been in both our names, but for the last 3 years, every mortgage payment came straight from my business account. That was easy to prove. Then there was the cabin up north, the one we used to escape to on weekends. I'd refinanced it 2 months earlier and transferred the title into my name. Lila had signed the paperwork without so much as skimming it. She was too busy texting Owen about when they'd see each other next. The kids' college funds were safe too. I'd set those up in my name as custodian before Lila and I were even married. Locked down. Untouchable. And my company? Sole proprietorship. I'd started it 3 years before the wedding. Completely separate property. Every dollar earned. Every client signed. Every line of code written, it was all mine. She had zero claim to it. For 6 weeks, I'd been quietly shifting pieces around a chessboard she didn't even know existed. And now, it was checkmate. My phone rang again. This time it was my mother. Marcus, she said, her voice tight with worry. Lila just called me. She's hysterical. Says you walked out of dinner and won't answer her calls. What's going on? Did she tell you why? I asked, keeping my tone level. She says she doesn't know. That you made some wild accusation and left. Mom, I said, she's pregnant with another man's child. Silence. Long enough that I checked my screen to make sure the call hadn't dropped. Finally, she spoke again, different now. Sharper. Are you certain? The DNA test came back yesterday, I said. I've had it for 2 weeks. I wanted to be absolutely sure before I did anything. Oh, honey. Her voice softened. I'm so sorry. Don't be, I said. I'm handling it. Where are you? At a hotel. I'll be here for a bit. Can you keep the kids tomorrow? I asked. I told them I had a business trip. Of course, she said without hesitation. Ivy and Leo can stay as long as you need. Thanks, Mom. Marcus, she added, whatever you're planning, be smart about it. I smiled. Always am. After we hung up, I opened my laptop again. One last thing to take care of that night. I logged into our shared financial dashboard, the one Lila used to check the checking account, savings, and household budget. I moved everything into a new account. Business Reserve Fund. Opened it last month. Every dollar transferred except exactly $5,000. Enough for a couple weeks of groceries and gas. Nothing more. Then I changed every password. By the time Lila realized what I'd done, it would already be Monday. And by Monday, the paperwork would be officially filed. My phone buzzed again. Lila. Please just tell me what I did wrong. We can fix this. I replied with 3 words. Check your email. Then I sent everything. Every screenshot. Every message with Owen. Every appointment confirmation. All documented. All time-stamped. I didn't wait for her response. I shut the laptop, powered off my phone, and went to sleep. Tomorrow, the real work began. Sunday morning arrived with rain, the steady kind that drums against the hotel window and makes you want to stay under the covers. I didn't have that option. I had 2 kids who deserved to hear the truth from me first. I wasn't going to let Lila rewrite reality before I spoke to them. I drove to my mother's house in Edgewater. Same modest 2-story I grew up in. Same mantel where she still kept my old baseball trophies, like I might walk back in someday and head out to practice. Ivy and Leo were in the kitchen when I arrived, eating pancakes drenched in way too much syrup, the way Mom always made them. Dad. Leo jumped up, syrup still on his chin. Grandma said you were on a business trip. Trip got cancelled, buddy, I said, ruffling his hair. Got a few minutes to talk? Ivy looked up from her plate. 14 years old and already better at reading a room than most adults. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, I said. I just need to talk to you both about something. Finish breakfast first, I added. Mom caught my eye from the stove. She knew what was coming. 20 minutes later, we were in the living room. Leo sat next to me on the couch. Ivy took the armchair, arms crossed, braced like she was expecting impact. Your mom and I are getting divorced, I said. No build-up. No cushioning. Just the truth. Leo's face crumpled. What? Why? Sometimes people grow apart, I started, but Ivy cut me off. That's garbage, Dad, she said sharply. People don't just grow apart. What actually happened? I looked at her, at the intelligence in her eyes, the way she leaned forward like she was ready to fight for answers. She deserved the truth. An age-appropriate version, but the truth. Your mom did something that broke our trust, I said carefully. Something I can't forgive. And pretending otherwise wouldn't be fair to any of us. Did she cheat? Ivy asked, blunt as a hammer. Leo gasped. Ivy. I'm 14, not stupid, she said. People get divorced for 3 reasons: money, cheating, or abuse. Dad makes good money and he's not abusive. So? She wasn't wrong. I nodded. Yes. She cheated. Leo started crying quiet, shaking sobs he tried to wipe away with his sleeve. Ivy didn't cry. She just sat there, jaw tight, processing everything. Is that why you left Friday night? She asked. Mom came home crying. Locked herself in the bedroom. Wouldn't talk to us. Yes, I said. That's why. Where were you? At a hotel. I needed space to think. She nodded slowly, then asked the question I'd been dreading. Where are we going to live? With me, I said without hesitation. I'm not leaving you. We'll work out the details, but you're staying with me. Both of you. What about Mom? Leo asked softly. She'll always be your mom, I said. You'll still see her. But day to day? That'll be with me. Leo buried his face into my shoulder and cried harder. I held him and let him get it out. Over his head, I watched Ivy. She still wasn't crying, but her hands were shaking. Dad, she said quietly. Yes, sweetheart. I'm not going with her. I don't care what the court says. I'm staying with you. Ivy. I mean it, she said, her voice finally breaking. She lied to us. To all of us. I can't. She broke down then. Really cried. I leaned over and gently pulled her onto the couch beside Leo. I wrapped my arms around both of them and just held on while everything finally broke loose. It felt like their childhood ended right there, sooner than it ever should have. My mom showed up quietly in the doorway, holding a box of tissues. She set it down on the coffee table without saying a word, then slipped away again. She knew better than to hover. She was giving us room. After a few minutes, Leo pulled away and looked up at me. Are you going to be okay, Dad? That one hit me hard. His whole world was collapsing, and he was worried about me. I smiled and nodded. I'm going to be fine, I told him. Better than fine. Then I added, all of us will be. I promise. Promise, he said back. Ivy wiped at her eyes with her sleeve. What happens now? She asked. Tomorrow, my lawyer files everything, I said. It's going to get messy for a while. I didn't sugarcoat it. There'll be lawyers, court dates, a lot of adult stuff you don't need to stress about. I looked at both of them. But we're going to be okay. The 3 of us. Leo swallowed. What if Mom tries to take us? She can try, I said evenly. But I've documented everything. Every lie. Every bad decision. Every choice she made that led us here. When the judge sees what I have, there won't be much debate about where you belong. Ivy held my gaze for a long second. You've been planning this, she said. 4 weeks. 6, I admitted. Good, she said, her voice sharp and fierce. I hope you take everything. Victor Langley's office smelled like leather, polish, and old money. Dark wood paneling lined the walls. Law books sat on shelves, untouched and probably unopened since the Reagan administration. Photos of Victor shaking hands with judges and politicians were framed like trophies. He'd been practicing family law since before I was born, and his reputation was simple. Victor Langley won. Mark Lip, he said, standing as I walked in and extending his hand. 65 years old. Silver hair. A suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Right on time, he said. Wouldn't miss it, I replied. We sat down, and he opened a folder thick enough to double as a phone book. I've reviewed everything you sent, he said. Emails. Financial records. DNA results. He didn't hesitate. This is about as open and shut as these cases ever get. So we file today? I asked. Already done, he said calmly. Courier delivered the petition to the courthouse at 8 this morning. Your wife will be served within the hour. He added, I used a process server named Santoro. Professional. Discreet. I nodded. Asset freeze is already in place, he continued. As of this morning, she can't access any joint accounts. She can't sell shared property or make major financial decisions without court approval. Then he slid another document across the desk. I also filed an emergency motion for temporary custody based on infidelity and financial irresponsibility. Victor pulled out another page. We should also discuss the children's testimony. Ivy is 14. In this state, that's old enough for the court to consider her preference if she's willing to speak to the judge. She already told me she wants to stay with me, I said, cutting in. Yesterday. In front of my mother. Even better, he said. We'll include that. As for Leo, he continued, he's 11. The court won't ask him to choose. But we can present evidence that you've been the primary parent. Homework. Sports. Medical appointments. He wasn't wrong. I'd been at every parent-teacher conference. Every baseball game. Every doctor's visit. Lila had shown up too, sometimes. When it didn't interfere with book club or gym time. What about the house? I asked. Separate property, Victor said. Purchased before the marriage. Title is solely in your name. She has no claim. And the business? Also separate, he replied. Established before the marriage. No commingled assets. He closed the folder. Clean separation. Her lawyer's going to fight this, I said. Victor smiled. Quinn. Predatory. Then he shrugged. Let them try. They'll be fighting uphill with no ammunition. Unless she has proof you're hiding assets or mistreating the kids. He looked at me. Which you're not. So what's her best case? I asked. Supervised visitation, he said, and maybe limited spousal support for a year or two. I don't want to pay her anything. Then we argue abandonment of marital duties, he said. Infidelity is grounds for forfeiture of support. He tapped the folder. It's a reach, but with this evidence, I can make it stick. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened the message. You bastard. How did you do this? Lila. She must have just been served. Another message followed. The kids are crying. Are you happy now? I showed Victor. He barely glanced at the screen. Don't respond, he said. Anything you say can be used against you. Let her scream into the void. Another buzz. Please. Can we talk? Just meet me somewhere. Victor reached over and placed his hand gently on my phone. Mark lip. Do not engage, he said firmly. This is exactly what we expected. She'll try guilt. Manipulation. Anything to make you back down. He met my eyes. Don't give her the satisfaction. I powered the phone off. What's next? I asked. We wait, he said. She has 30 days to respond. In the meantime, you keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Be the perfect father. Run your business. Stay clean. No dates. No drinking. Nothing that can be twisted against you. Understood. And Mark lip, he said, leaning forward, I've seen men ruin themselves because they felt guilty. Because they wanted to be nice. Don't be that guy, he said flatly. She made her choices. Now she lives with the consequences. I stood and shook his hand. That's exactly what I plan to do. Wednesday afternoon, my CFO called me. Claudia Romero. She'd been with the company since year 2 back when we worked out of a strip mall and survived on ramen noodles. If Claudia called in the middle of the day, something was wrong. "Mark Lip," she said, skipping the pleasantries. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The kind where someone's been accessing employee payroll data without authorization," she said. "For the past 8 months. I pulled into a gas station parking lot." "Who?" "Lila's login credentials," she said. "She hasn't worked here in 3 years, but her admin access was never revoked. Someone's been using it to pull salary info, benefits data, personal employee files." My jaw tightened. "Send me the logs," I said. "Everything." 20 minutes later, I was back in my office, staring at timestamps that told a very clear story. Lila had been methodically accessing our HR platform, downloading confidential employee information. Names, addresses, social security numbers, salary histories. Everything that could be misused for serious fraud, sell sensitive company data to a rival. I didn't even hesitate, I called Victor right away. This went far beyond a policy violation and became a serious legal matter. After I explained everything, he said slowly, "If she shared any of this emails, files, anything, with a competitor, you're looking at criminal charges on top of the divorce." I asked, "Do we even have proof she shared it?" "You'd need her communications. Emails, texts, cloud storage access." "Do you have access?" I replied quietly, "I have what I need." That night, I went through Lila's digital life like a detective on a high-stakes case. And there it was, a folder called Consulting Work, filled with employee data from my company. Every file, every document, had been sent to an email at Stratton Solutions, our biggest competitor. The contact? Owen Blackwood. Her boyfriend. I didn't waste a second. I called Claudia. "Get the legal team on this now. I want a complete audit, every file she touched, every download, every potential breach. And I don't want a report tomorrow. I want it yesterday. Marcus, if this leaks." "It won't." "Not yet," I interrupted. "But I want everything documented. Every access. Every action logged. When the time comes, we let the evidence speak for itself." Thursday morning, I met with Elias Thornton, our corporate attorney. I laid out everything: unauthorized access, stolen files, the transfer to a competitor. "This is a felony," he said flatly. "Computer fraud. Trade secret theft. You might even have RICO exposure if we can prove a conspiracy." "I'm not pressing charges yet," I said. "I want leverage in the divorce." He raised a brow. "You're seriously thinking of blackmailing your wife?" "Not blackmail," I said. "Consequences. She stole from my company, put employees' personal data at risk, possibly cost us clients. Her choices would determine whether this stayed a civil matter or escalated legally." "That's ruthless," he said. "She earned it." By Friday, Victor had served Lila with an amended petition. The filing spelled out the espionage, the theft, the criminal liability. Logs of every download, every email to Owen, attached. She called within an hour. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. Finally, a text, "Please. We need to talk." I sent one line, "Your attorney has my terms. Sign them or face prosecution." 2 minutes later, her reply, "You're destroying me. You destroyed yourself." "I'm just keeping a record," I typed back. Then I blocked her number and got back to work. 2 weeks later, she signed everything. Full custody of the kids, the house, the business, all investments and retirement accounts. She got her car, $5,000, and whatever she could fit in it. No alimony. No child support. Nothing. Victor called 30 minutes after she signed. "Her lawyer looks like he just walked out of a battlefield." "She didn't have a choice," I said. No, she didn't, Victor said. The corporate espionage angle was brilliant. Her lawyer knew trial meant prison and losing everything. This way, at least she walks out free. For now, I said. Criminal charges are still on the table. If she stays away from me and the kids, doesn't stir trouble, I might let it go. But if she tries to fight later, claim coercion or manipulation, I hand it all to the DA. Victor laughed. You're a cold man, Marcus Hawthorne. I'm careful, I said. Cold is reckless. Careful wins. That night, I told the kids. Ivy nodded once, stoic, and went back to her homework. Leo cried and asked if he'd still see his mom. Yes, I said. Supervised visits once a month until the court decides otherwise. But we're staying with you. You're staying with me. Both of you. Forever? He hugged me so tight I could feel it in my chest. Thanks, Dad. Next morning, Lila showed up for her things. Everything was already packed, clothes in boxes, personal items in trash bags, stacked in the garage like unwanted yard sale leftovers. She arrived in Owen's car. He stayed in the driver's seat, sunglasses on, trying to look calm. Smart man. Lila got out slowly, looked at the boxes, then at me. That's it? That's all yours. Can I see the kids? No, she said, face collapsing. Marcus, please. They're my children. You should have thought about this before you sold company secrets to your boyfriend. You're lucky I'm not having you arrested. Don't push it, I said. I didn't know. Owen said he needed. I don't care what Owen said. You stole from me, from employees, from people who trusted us. You chose this. She started crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. Owen honked. Lila flinched, looked at him, then back at me. Can I write them letters? Call them? Through your attorney. Not directly. One misstep and I file a restraining order. You thought of everything, she said bitterly. You had 10 months to think about consequences. I'm just better at planning. She loaded her boxes into Owen's car. 3 trips. He never got out, just scrolled his phone like he wasn't involved. When she finished, she stood at the passenger door. The baby. Not my concern. You and Owen figure that out. He doesn't want, she swallowed. He's not ready. Then you picked the wrong guy. Not my problem. They drove off. I watched until they turned the corner, then went back inside where Ivy was at the window. Is she gone? She asked. Yeah, I said. She's gone. Finally. Ivy turned away from the window without a backward glance. Maybe we didn't need her anyway. Maybe life would be cleaner without the lies, the manipulation, the constant guessing of what was real and what was just acting. Or maybe I was lying to myself to make it feel easier. Whatever the case, it was over. Then came the call. Thursday afternoon. Ivy's school. Principal Davies on the line, her voice tight, brittle. Mr. Hawthorne, we need to talk about your daughter. There's been a situation with some other students. Can you come in tomorrow? What kind of situation? A pause. It's about social media posts. About your family. I'd rather explain it in person. I cleared my calendar. The next morning, I arrived at 8 o'clock sharp. Davies met me in her office, dark circles under her eyes, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Ivy sat outside, arms crossed, chin high, radiating defiance. Once the door closed behind me, I asked, "What's going on?" She turned the computer toward me and scrolled through screenshots, Instagram posts, text messages, even a video filmed in the school hallway. Every post featured Lila, my soon-to-be ex. These started circulating 2 days ago, Davies said. Someone leaked your divorce details, the affair, the pregnancy, the corporate espionage. It's all anyone is talking about in the sophomore class. I scanned the posts. Lila's face had been photoshopped into memes. Comments ran from mocking to vicious, homewrecker, cheater, thief. Words I wouldn't even repeat out loud. Where did this come from? I asked. We're still investigating, Davies said. But several students suggest Ivy was involved. I looked out the office window at my daughter. She met my eyes and didn't flinch. I'll handle it, I said. Mr. Hawthorne, if Ivy initiated this, Davies hesitated. Our school has strict rules against cyberbullying. I'll handle it, I repeated. She nodded, reluctantly. We're considering suspension. 3 days minimum. Do what you have to do. I left the office. Ivy stood silently when I emerged. We walked to the car without a word, the tension thick. On the road, I finally asked, "Want to tell me what happened?" Avery Collins called you a loser, Ivy said flatly. Mom told her you were boring, couldn't satisfy her, and upgraded to someone younger and hotter. My jaw tightened. So you leaked the divorce details? Not exactly, she said. Mom didn't leave. You kicked her out for cheating and stealing from your company. I showed Avery the court documents. She shared them. What was I supposed to do? Let them trash you? Pretend Mom was the victim and you were the villain? You could have ignored it, like you ignored what Mom did, I said. Ivy turned, steady and unflinching. You documented everything. Built a case. Made sure the truth was out. I just accelerated it. She was right. I had made sure Lila's actions were on record, court filings, legal documents, all public. I wanted the truth out there. Ivy had just forced the process. The school wants to suspend you, I said. I know. Worth it? Is it? Yes. Every second. Now everyone knows. Mom screwed up. Not you. Not us. Her. I pulled into the driveway and killed the engine. You know this is going to make things harder, Ivy said quietly. It already is. But at least now it's honest. That evening, Lila called. The first call I'd answered in 3 weeks. Your daughter is ruining my life, she screamed before I could even say hello. She's posting my personal info online, turning the school against me, making me look like a criminal. You are a criminal, I said calmly. Data theft is a felony. If people are harassing you, call the police. Someone threw eggs at your car? That's on you. This is your fault. You turned the kids against me. I didn't. You did, when you put Owen ahead of your family. I want to see them. The court already said supervised visits. Those visits can be denied if there's evidence of emotional harm. Ivy's suspension counts. Lila went quiet. Then, her voice cracking, she asked, "How did we get here, Mark?" You made a choice. Then another. Then another. This is where it all led. I loved you. I still. No. You didn't, I said. Love doesn't steal. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't betray. What you felt was convenience, comfort, security. Not love. I hung up before she could argue. Ivy appeared in the doorway. That was Mom? Yeah. What did she want? To blame everyone but herself, I said. Ivy nodded and hugged me. Thanks for not being mad about the school thing, she said. Oh, I'm mad, I admitted. But I'm proud. You stood up for the truth. I just wish you'd been smarter about it. Next time? There won't be a next time. Mom's gone. We move forward. Promise? Promise. Even as I said it, I knew it wasn't entirely true. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The next morning, Lila's attorney filed an emergency motion, claiming I had coached the kids to defame her, using them as weapons in the divorce. The court scheduled a hearing for the following week. Suddenly, everything I'd built was on the line. Judge Beatrice had a reputation. 40 years on the bench. No nonsense. Sharp as broken glass. She didn't tolerate games, excuses, or liars. I wore my best suit. Victor sat beside me, calm as ever. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and tension. My briefcase was heavy with documents, proofs, logs, filings, everything I had carefully collected. Across the aisle, Lila and her lawyer, Evelyn Foster, sat like soldiers ready for battle, faces tight, posture rigid. Judge Beatrice didn't waste time. "This is a motion for emergency custody modification," she said, scanning her notes. Evelyn jumped in immediately. "Your Honor, a 14-year-old child should never have access to sensitive divorce filings. If Ivy obtained these documents, the only way it could have happened is through her father." Judge Beatrice looked at me directly. "Mr. Hawthorne, did you provide your daughter with the divorce documents?" I stood slowly. "I showed her the paternity test, Your Honor." She asked why her mother and I were divorcing. I believed she deserved an honest answer. Regarding the corporate espionage details, those are contained in the amended petition served to Ms. Hawthorne. Her attorney has the official copy. If Ivy accessed it, she did so on her own. The judge scribbled something. "Ms. Foster, what else supports your claim of parental alienation?" "The children refuse to see their mother," Evelyn said. "Ms. Hawthorne has repeatedly tried to contact them directly, in violation of the custody order. Mr. Hawthorne has blocked her number on their devices." Victor leaned forward. "Your Honor, she was blocked only after multiple violations of the custody order. We have documentation, 17 attempted calls, 34 texts over 2 weeks, all outside the proper supervised channels." Judge Beatrice turned to Lila. "Is this accurate?" Lila stood, her voice trembling. "I just wanted to speak to my children." "They won't answer. I'm their mother." "You are also bound by a court order," the judge said firmly. "Did you attempt direct contact in violation of that order?" "Yes." The judge made another note. "Anything further, Ms. Foster?" "We believe Mr. Hawthorne has influenced the children to see their mother as the enemy." "This is textbook parental alienation." Victor opened his briefcase. "Your Honor, we request to call Ivy Hawthorne as a witness." Evelyn shot up. "Objection. She's a minor, this is inappropriate." Victor kept his voice calm. "She's 14, Your Honor. The court may consider her wishes, and she has volunteered to testify." The judge considered for a moment. "I'll allow it, but the courtroom will be cleared. Only attorneys, parents, and my clerk will remain." 5 minutes later, Ivy walked in. Navy dress, hair pulled back. She looked older than 14, confident, composed. "Ivy," Judge Beatrice asked gently, "do you understand why you are here?" "Yes, ma'am. My mother thinks my dad turned me against her." "And did he?" "No, ma'am. She did that herself." "How?" "My dad never spoke badly about my mom," Ivy said, drawing a steady breath. "Not once. Even after learning about the affair, the baby, the theft from his company. He just said adults make mistakes." "Then why don't you want to see her?" "Because she lied. To all of us. Every day. 4 months. How am I supposed to trust someone who does that?" Judge Beatrice nodded. "And the information you shared at school?" "I shouldn't have," Ivy admitted. "It was mean. I was angry. My friend said my dad was a loser, that my mom left him, that wasn't true. I just wanted people to know the truth." "Did your father tell you to share it?" "No, ma'am. He told me to ignore it." "I didn't." The judge looked to Lila. "Do you have questions for your daughter?" Lila shook her head, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. Judge Beatrice closed her notebook. Then we are done. Motion for emergency custody modification is denied. Custody remains as previously ordered. Ms. Hawthorne, all contact must go through supervised channels. Any violations will be treated as contempt. Evelyn tried one last plea. Your Honor, she's their mother. And Mr. Hawthorne is their father, the judge interrupted. Evidence shows he has acted appropriately throughout. Court is adjourned. The gavel struck. Outside, Victor clapped me on the shoulder. That went smoother than I expected. Ivy saved us, he added. She's sharp. Takes after her dad. I glanced at my daughter waiting by the car, stubborn, loyal, unshakable. Everything Lila was not. Yeah, I said. She does. 4 months after the divorce was finalized, a letter arrived from the district attorney. They had reviewed the evidence I'd submitted on Lila's corporate espionage. They wanted to prosecute. I met Assistant D.I. Julia Mercer downtown. 36, sharp-eyed, no-nonsense, with a reputation for winning cases others avoided. Mr. Hawthorne, the evidence is substantial, she said, spreading the documents across her desk. Unauthorized access, theft of employee data, transfer to a competitor. This is textbook computer fraud. I know. We could file charges, she continued. It could result in serious legal consequences. What do you need from me? I asked. Testimony, technical documentation, cooperation throughout the trial, she said. And you must understand this will be public. Your company in the news. Your children witnessing their mother arrested. They've already seen her destroy our family, I said. This isn't worse. Are you sure? I thought about Ivy and Leo, our routines, the quiet stability we'd fought for. A trial would rip it all open again. What if I don't cooperate? Without you, we have no case, she said flatly. She walks. I stared at the documents. Login credentials, timestamps, every stolen file cataloged. Part of me wanted justice, wanted Lila to face real consequences. But another part, the part that tucked my kids in, made breakfast, helped with homework, that part wanted this nightmare to be over. I need time to think, I said. You have 48 hours, Julia replied. After that, the statute of limitations starts to matter. I left her office and drove home without turning on the radio. Just road noise and my own thoughts. Ivy was at the kitchen table when I walked in, textbooks spread out, pencil moving fast. Leo was in the den, controller in hand, arguing with his screen. Dad? Ivy looked up. You okay? You look tense. I pulled out a chair and sat across from her. The district attorney wants to prosecute your mom for the data theft. Her pencil froze mid-sentence. Are they going to? That depends on me. They need my help. Ivy didn't say anything right away. What do you want to do? I don't know, I said honestly. Part of me thinks she deserves it. She broke the law. But you and Leo are finally okay. A trial would drag everything back into the light, news stories, questions, whispers. Ivy closed her book. Dad, can I be honest? Always. I don't care what happens to her anymore, she said quietly. I used to. I was angry. I wanted her punished. But now I just want us to be okay. I want this part of our life to be over. Leo appeared in the doorway. Are we talking about Mom? Yeah, I said. Come sit. He dropped onto the chair beside Ivy. She might go to jail for what she did to my company, I explained. But only if I help the DA. Leo thought for a moment. Would that mess things up again? It could, I said. People talking. News coverage. Then don't do it, he said simply. We're good now. Why make it bad again? Kids have a way of cutting through noise. I looked at both of them, relaxed, lighter than they'd been in months. The peace we'd fought for sitting right in front of me. Okay, I said. Okay. The next morning, I called Julia Mercer. I'm not going to cooperate, I said. She paused. Mr. Hawthorne, this woman committed serious crimes. I know, I said. But my kids come first. They've been through enough. She was quiet for a beat. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right call. Sometimes moving forward matters more than winning. Yeah, I said. I think so too. 2 weeks later, Lila sent a message. The first one in months. I heard you didn't press charges. Thank you. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. She'd made her choices. I'd made mine. That chapter was finished. That evening, Ivy asked if we could visit her grandmother's grave, my mom, Beatrice, who'd passed the year before. We brought flowers. The air was cool, quiet. She'd be proud of you, Ivy said. You think? I know. Grandma always said the real test of someone is what they do when they have power. You could have destroyed Mom. You didn't. I didn't choose mercy, I said. I chose peace. Ivy smiled. Isn't that the same thing? I thought about it on the drive home. Maybe it was. Life settled into something steady after that. Dinner. Homework. Leo's math sheets. Ivy practicing violin for her recital. Normal life. Quiet. Beautiful. That night, for the first time since everything blew up, I slept straight through without waking up angry. The healing wasn't complete. It might never be. But it had started. And that was enough. 8 months later, I sat in the school auditorium watching Ivy accept an Academic Excellence Award. Straight A's all year. I'd never been prouder. Leo sat next to me with his baseball trophy in his lap. Championship game. Winning run. Kid was glowing. Afterward, we went for ice cream. A tradition I started after the divorce. Every win, every milestone, we celebrated. Made sure the kids knew the family changed, but the love didn't. Dad, Ivy said, chocolate ice cream on her spoon, can I ask you something? Shoot. Have you thought about dating? I laughed. Where is this coming from? You've been alone for 8 months, she said. You deserve someone good. I'm not alone, I said. I have you too. You know what I mean, she said. Leo nodded. She's right. You should get a girlfriend. A girlfriend, I said. You're both very invested in this. We just want you happy, Ivy said. Not just Dad happy. Real happy. She was 15 now. Nearly grown. I am happy, I said. Being your dad is enough. But when we go to college, she asked. You'll be by yourself. That's years away, I said. I'll worry then. Still, the idea stuck with me. Later that night, after the house went quiet, I opened my laptop. A business dinner invite sat unread in my inbox. Tech mixer. Usually unbearable. But the keynote speaker caught my attention. Dr. Naomi Sinclair. Healthcare analytics founder. I'd heard of her work. Respected it. I RSVP'd. The event was downtown. Hotel ballroom. Suits everywhere. Polite applause. I grabbed a drink and found a seat near the back. Naomi Sinclair took the stage. Confident. Sharp. 43. She talked about building a company from nothing, using data to save lives, raising twin daughters alone. After the talk, I introduced myself. Marcus Hawthorne. She shook my hand. Naomi Sinclair. Great presentation. Thank you. You're the HR platform guy, right? I am. We use your software, she said. It saves us hours every week. We talked for 20 minutes. business, leadership, being single parents with demanding careers. She'd been divorced 3 years. Twins. 16. It's hard sometimes, she admitted. Being enough for them and enough for the company. I know, I said. She smiled. I had a feeling you would. We exchanged cards. 3 days later, she called. I know this is forward, she said, but I'd like to have dinner. Just the two of us. For the first time in a long while, I didn't hesitate. Talk about something other than work for once, I said. I'd like that, Naomi replied. We met at a quiet restaurant, soft lighting, the kind where conversation flows without pressure. Hours passed like minutes. We talked about our kids, our divorces, the futures we'd been forced to rebuild, and the possibility of trusting again. About opening ourselves to life when betrayal had taught us to be cautious. Over dessert, Naomi admitted, I swore I'd never date again. Told myself men weren't worth the risk. What changed? I asked. I got tired of being angry. Realized my ex took enough from me. I wasn't going to let him take my future too. I raised my glass. To reclaiming futures. She clinked hers against mine. To new beginnings. 3 months later, I introduced Naomi to the kids. Dinner at our house. Casual. No pressure. She brought her daughters, Hazel and Clara. The girls connected immediately. Music bridged the gap. Clara played violin too, and she and Ivy spent nearly an hour comparing techniques. Leo challenged Hazel to a card game rematch inside, laughter spilling out into the evening air. After dinner, Naomi and I sat on the back porch while the kids played. They like you, I said. I like them, she replied. They're good kids, Marcus. You've done an amazing job. I shrugged. I had help. My mom, before she passed. And the kids themselves. They're stronger than I ever was. Naomi took my hand. You're stronger than you think. We sat quietly. Laughter and conversation floated from the house, warm and unforced. It was the sound of family, not the fractured version from before, but real, alive, whole. I hadn't expected to feel this way again. Happy, I admitted. Me neither, she said. But here we are. Here we were. A year after the divorce, I took the kids back up north to the cabin Lila and I used to visit. The one I'd kept in the settlement. The one that had always felt like ours. We fished, hiked, and sat by the fire at night. On the last evening, Ivy studied the flames and said, "It feels different here." How so? I asked. Lighter. Like it's ours now, not hers. Leo nodded. I like it better this way. I looked at their faces, flickering in the firelight, and felt the weight of how far we'd come from that first dinner at Raphael's, walking away from a marriage built on lies, to this moment of peace, solid and earned. Months ago, Lila had texted, asking if the kids wanted to see her. I left the decision to them. Both said no. Not yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. I passed the message along. Lila didn't respond. And that was okay. Some wounds need time, distance, or both. Dad? Leo asked quietly. You okay? I smiled. Yeah, buddy. Better than okay. He tossed another log on the fire, sparks dancing into the night. Because we were two. Together. Sitting there, surrounded by my children, by the life we'd built from the ruins of betrayal, I realized something important: Lila hadn't destroyed me. She'd freed me. Given me the chance to build something honest, something real, something better. I'd thought that dinner at Raphael's was the end. It wasn't. It was the beginning. The first day of a life I actually wanted to live. And suddenly, all the pain, the anger, the loss, the lies, felt like it had been worth it.